There is a place on Earth so isolated that once you arrive, leaving may no longer be possible. No nearby cities, no roads, no rescue within hours or even days. If something goes wrong here, you are completely alone. This is not a metaphor. This place exists. And humans chose to go there anyway. Isolation is often misunderstood. It's not just distance. It's not just emptiness. True isolation means no immediate help, no backup systems, no margin for error. In most parts of the world, something is always close. A road, a town, a signal. But there are a few places on Earth where none of that exists. Places where isolation itself becomes the danger. At the center of Antarctica lies one of the most isolated regions on Earth. Thousands of kilometers from the nearest city. Months away from evacuation during winter. Completely cut off from the rest of humanity. Temperatures here drop below -80 degrees Celsius. Winds exceed hurricane force, and darkness can last for months. During winter, aircraft cannot land. Engines fail. Fuel freezes. Runways disappear beneath snow. If a medical emergency occurs, there is no evacuation. People stationed here know this before arriving. Every mission is planned with the assumption that help may never come. And yet, humans still choose to stay. What makes Antarctica unique is not just the cold, it's the distance. From the interior, the nearest help is often thousands of kilometers away. Across oceans, across ice, communication delays occur. Weather blocks flights for weeks. In these conditions, survival depends entirely on preparation and discipline. Isolation here is absolute. While Antarctica represents isolation through extreme climate, there are places on Earth where isolation comes from distance alone. Places surrounded not by ice, but by endless ocean. Places so remote that reaching them already feels like crossing a boundary. In the middle of the South Atlantic Ocean lies Tristan da Cunha. It is often described as the most remote inhabited island on Earth. The nearest continent is over 2,400 kilometers away. There is no airport, no regular flights. The only way to reach the island is by ship, a journey that can take more than a week. When storms arrive, the island becomes completely cut off. No supplies, no evacuation, no outside contact. For centuries, the people who lived here accepted isolation as a way of life. But even today, one serious medical emergency can become life-threatening. Isolation changes everything. On remote islands, help does not arrive quickly. Equipment failures become critical. Illnesses escalate. Weather decides whether survival is possible. Many isolated islands were once settled and later abandoned. Not because they were unlivable, but because isolation proved too costly. Supply routes failed, economies collapsed, and people left. Distance alone can destroy a community. There is a location in the Pacific Ocean that is farther from land than any other place on Earth. It is known as Point Nemo. The nearest humans to this point are often not on land, but aboard the International Space Station passing overhead. There are no islands nearby. No ships pass through regularly. No rescue infrastructure exists. If something goes wrong, here help is impossibly far away. Point Nemo represents isolation in its purest form. Not cold, not heat, just distance. Despite the risks, humans continue to enter these isolated places for science, for exploration, for understanding how isolation affects survival. These environments test logistics, psychology, and technology. They reveal how thin the line is between safety and complete abandonment. Isolation doesn't just challenge the body, it challenges the mind. When distance removes the possibility of escape, humans begin to change. This is where isolation becomes more than geography. It becomes psychological. Across the planet, research stations exist in places chosen specifically because no one else lives there. Deep in Antarctica, on remote islands, in vast empty deserts. These stations are often occupied by small teams for months, sometimes years, at a time. Contact with the outside world is limited. Supplies are rationed. Weather determines everything. During winter, some Antarctic stations are completely unreachable. If a plane cannot land, no one comes. People stationed here accept a simple reality. They must survive on their own. Extended isolation has measurable effects. Sleep patterns change. Time perception distorts. Minor conflicts escalate. Studies show that people in extreme isolation experience increased stress, emotional numbness, impaired decision-making. Even highly trained professionals struggle under these conditions. Isolation removes the mental safety net that modern life provides. Not all missions succeed. Some isolated stations were evacuated early. Others were abandoned entirely. In some cases, communication was lost. Medical emergencies occurred. Psychological strain became unmanageable. Isolation doesn't announce its danger loudly. It works slowly, silently. By the time problems become visible, options are already limited. Humans evolved as social beings. We rely on proximity, on shared responsibility, on support systems. Isolation removes all of that. In extreme environments, distance itself becomes the threat. Not cold, not heat, but the absence of others. We've seen isolation in many forms: frozen continents, remote islands, endless oceans, stations cut off for months at a time. But isolation is not defined by a single place. It is defined by what happens when distance removes all alternatives, when there is no quick rescue, no nearby help, no second chance. So what is the most isolated place on Earth? It is not just one location. It is any place where help cannot arrive in time. Escape is impossible. Survival depends entirely on preparation. In Antarctica's interior, winter makes evacuation impossible. At Point Nemo, distance alone prevents rescue. On the world's most remote islands, weather decides who comes and who doesn't. True isolation is not about emptiness. It is about being beyond reach. Despite knowing this, humans continue to enter isolated places, not because they are safe, but because they reveal our limits. Isolation strips life down to essentials. It shows what humans can endure and what they cannot. These environments test logistics, technology, and human psychology in ways no laboratory ever could. Modern technology gives the illusion that distance no longer matters. But isolation proves otherwise. There are still places where nature sets the rules. Places where survival depends, not on speed or strength, but on restraint. In these environments, humans are not conquerors. They are temporary visitors. The most isolated place on Earth is not defined by how far it is from civilization. It is defined by how completely it separates us from it, where distance becomes absolute, where mistakes cannot be corrected, where humanity exists at the very edge of its reach. Hidden Earth TV explores the most remote, unreachable, and unseen places on our planet. If you want to discover more locations that exist beyond human reach, subscribe to Hidden Earth TV